Hi and welcome to the video training of Elixir. In today's video training we will be learning about mix. It is an introduction to mix. Let's build our first Elixir project. When you install Elixir, besides getting the Elixir, elixirc and IEX executables, you also get an executable Elixir script named mix. Let's create our first project by invoking mix new from the command line. We will pass the project name as the argument, kv in this case, and tell mix that our main module should be all the uppercase kv instead of the default, which would have been kv. So let's go to console and create a project, mix new kv -- module kv in caps. Okay, let's see, we have the kv directory here, right here. If we go into the kv directory, we can see all the files. The mix will create a directory named kv with a few lines, few files in it: readme.md, formatter.exs, gitignore, mix.exs, libkv.ex, test helper, and kvtext.exs. Let's take a brief look at those generated files. Note that mix is an Elixir executable. This means that in order to run mix, you need to have both mix and Elixir executables in your path. That's what happens when you install Elixir. A file named mix.exs was generated inside our new project folder kv, and its main responsibility is to configure our project. Let's take a look at it. Let's open the file mix.exs, and here you can see the structure. It has a module called def module kv.mix project, and it is using the mix.project library, and here it is defining the project version, Elixir version, starting point, and then we have the compiler option here, application do, and then we have the module for dependencies from GitHub, that elixir elang my definition. Our mix.exs defines two public functions: project, which returns project configuration like the project name, this is this definition, and version and application, which is used to generate an application file. There is also a private function named deps. It's this function, which is invoked from the project function that defines our project dependencies. Defining deps as a separate function is not required, but it helps keep the project configuration tidy. Mix also generates a file at lib/kv.ex with a module containing exactly one function called hello. So if I see the contents of lib folder, I can see kv.ex file. Let's open this file, kv.ex, and you can see it has created a hello world example automatically when we created our project with mix. This structure is enough to compile our project. So while we are in the kv folder, which is our project folder, let's compile our project. Mix compile is a command, and it says compiling one file.ex generated kv app. So we have the build folder now, _build folder. The lib kv.ex file was compiled, and application manifest named kv.app was generated. All compilation artifacts are placed inside the build directory using the options defined in the mix.exs file. Once the project is compiled, you can start an IEX session inside the project by running IEX-s mix. Okay, now we have the interactive mode. We are going to work on this KV project, making modifications and trying out the latest changes from an IEX session. While you may start a new session whenever there are changes to the project source code, you can also recompile the project within the IEX with the recompile helper like this. Okay, says it only compiles when there is a change. So currently there is no change, so it says nope. If anything had to be compiled, you see some informative text and get the OK item back. Otherwise the function is silent and returns nope. Mix also generated the appropriate structure for running our project test. Mix projects usually follow the convention of having a file name _test.exs file in the test directory for each file in the lib directory. For this reason, we can already find a test folder kv_text.exs file corresponding to our lib kv.ex file. It doesn't do much at this point. Let's have a look at the structure of this file. Let's get out of our interactive mode and okay, this is the test file generated by the mix. It is important to note a couple of things. The test file is an Elixir script file. This is convenient because we don't need to compile tests before running them. We define a test module named KV test in which we use xunit.case to inject the testing API. You can see here xunit.case is being used. We use one of the injected macros, doctest. This is the doctest to indicate that the KV module contains doctests. We will discuss those in later chapters. We use the test macro to define a simple test. Mix also generated a file named test forward test helper.exs which is responsible for setting up the test framework, that is exunit.start. This file will be required by Mix every time before we run our test. We can run tests with mix test. So if you go to the compile, see it says compiling one file, generated kvf, finished in 0.4 seconds, one doc test, one test, 0 failures. Notice that by running mix test, Mix has compiled the source files and generated the application manifest once again. This happens because Mix supports multiple environments. Furthermore, you can see that xunit prints a dot for each successful test and automatically randomizes tests too. Let's make the test fail on purpose and see what happens. Change the assertion in test forward kv_test.exs to the following. So let's open the kv_test.exs file. We are already in that file, and let's do the following. Assert kv.hello equals, instead of equals, change it to oops. Save the file. Now run mix test again. Notice this time there will be no compilation. So if we go to the console and we run mix test, it says, it gives an assertion error and there is no compilation. For each failure, xunit prints a detailed report containing the test name with the test case, the code that failed, and the values for the left side and right side of the equal operator. In the second line of the failure, right below the test name, there is the location where the test was defined. If you copy the test location in full, including the file and line number, and append it to mix test, Mix will load and run just the particular test. So we can run the particular test by typing in mix test slash kv underscore test xs:5. Yeah, it runs this shortcut will be extremely useful as we build our project, allowing us to quickly iterate by running a single test. Finally, the state trace relates to the failure itself, giving information about the test and often the place the failure was generated from within the source files. One of the files generated by mix new is the .formatter.exs. Elixir ships with a code formatter that is capable of automatically formatting our codebase according to a consistent style. The formatter is triggered with the mix format task. The generated .formatter.exs file configures which files should be formatted when mix format runs. To give the formatter a try, change a file in the lib or test directories to include extra spaces or extra new lines such as def hello do and then run mix format. Most editors provide built-in integration with the formatter, allowing a file to be formatted on save or via a chosen key binding. If you are learning Elixir, editor integration gives you useful and quick feedback when learning the Elixir syntax. For companies and teams, we recommend developers to run mix format --check formatted on their continuous integration servers, ensuring all current and future code follows the standards. Okay, let's look at the environments. Mix provides the concept of environments. They allow a developer to customize compilation and other options for specific scenarios. By default, Mix understands three environments: dev, the one in which mix tasks like compile run by default; test, used by mix test; and the production, which is prod, the one you will use to run your project in production. The environment applies only to the current project, as we will see in future chapters. In dependency you add to your project will by default run in the production environment. Customization per environment can be done by accessing the mix.env function in your mix.exs file, which returns the current environment as an atom. That's what we have used in the start permanent options. So if I open my mix.exs file, you can see here, right here, the environment is production. When true, the start permanent option starts your application in permanent mode, which means the Erlang VM will crash if your application's supervision tree shuts down. Notice we don't want this behavior in dev and test because it is useful to keep the VM instance running in those environments for troubleshooting purposes. Mix will default to the dev environment except for the test task that will default to the test environment. The environment can be changed via the mix environment variable. Mix env is equal to prod mix compile. Mix is a build tool and as such it is not expected to be available in production. Therefore, it is recommended to access mix.env only in configuration files and inside mix.exs, never in your application code. Keep in mind that you can always invoke the help task to list all available tasks. So if you go to console, let's clear the console and you can type mix help, you get all the possible commands that you can run with mix. For example, if I type in mix archive, it lists all installed archives. Here you can see all the archives that has been installed. Similarly, if I type in archive and here's a version, should be here somewhere, app.config, clean, delete generated application, execute the given command, complete. Okay, key script format, help, hex. Okay, if I type in mix hex. Okay, it gives me information about the hex library, and it is a package manager for the Erlang ecosystem. So you can do a lot of stuff with mix. You can register a new user, you can print the current user, you can authorize a new user, etc., etc. You can get further information about a particular task by invoking mix help task. So basically by task it means mix help new, and you get all the detailed documentation about mix new, how it works, what it does, and how it can be customized with different options. I hope that you have liked this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you need any help, feel free to contact me. My email address is umahmood@gmail.com. My LinkedIn profile, you can visit my LinkedIn profile or my Twitter handle. See you next time with a new topic in Elixir and Mix.